What's he up to now, I hear you ask? There used to be a path here, and these trees weren't here. I need to get out there. So this bracken is taller than me. Luckily it's only bracken, but I can't see where I'm walking. Therein lies a potential problem, or it would be if we hadn't had so much dry weather, because this is potentially a bog I'm walking into, which in theory I should have a machete. In theory it's bone dry because of all the weather we've had, but I wouldn't want to put it to the test. Can't see my feet. This is all good fun, isn't it? Right, I'm feeling tussocks under my feet now, which is the hallmarks of boggy ground in this terrain. Right, now I can see my feet, and it's dry. Whew. Right, who's going to be the first to guess what the hell I am doing in an environment like this? And we'll cross off the list straight away. No, I'm not looking for moss. I've even got my hat on. I don't know whether I can I turn the camera around? I've got my daft hat on. Gah. That's for the sun. Not that stupid. Now, in this environment, that's number one that I came to see. That little blue butterfly is a silver-studded blue. They are only found in this type of environment. And I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I haven't seen any of those for about 20 years. And do you know how far from home I am? About 2.5 miles. I should get out more, shouldn't I? Anyway, who's going to guess what I'm here for? I'll give it away eventually. Whew, it are hot. There is still water here. I am going to have to go careful. That's a shame. I was hoping to stay dry. I haven't got my welly boots on. I've just got my little, my walking boots. They're waterproof up to a point. I'll try and get a close-up of one of these blues if one will land. But in this warm weather, they're probably just going to fly. Oh, look. A pretty little orange one now. That's a... Come on, open your wings. That's a small copper. Very attractive butterfly. But if he's going to keep his wings closed, we can't see, can we? So far... Oh, there he is. Oh, that's a skipper. That's a different thing. Different thing altogether. Right, so... For those of you that are looking, what is there a lot of here? And what's different about them? Right, so there are the other two inhabitants in certain areas around here. There, on that slope that isn't wet, well, unless it's changed since I last came here. We've got adders and sand lizards here, but that was a long time ago. They may have been driven out. What would drive them out from a nice area like this? People. More importantly, not people, but what they bring with them. Dogs. Dogs will drive away the wildlife, thundering through the undergrowth off their lead. How many people can you see? That's what I like. But you can hear the road in the background. Anyway, I'm going to turn this off for now until I come across something suitable, and then we'll talk about why I'm here, why this area is different. for instance, we're also close to the airport. If you look farther into the horizon, like there, what's different about that bit to this bit? Yeah? What's different as you go up the hill compared to down here? Right, now we'll see if we can go and find what I'm after. Not quite sure what is going on here. Sort of area's just been dug down, and what's been dug out has just been thrown up in a bank. At the moment I see no point. No point at all. Seems odd. Obviously been done with a digger. Is that what I'm after yet? I've found basically what I want. All I'm doing now is carrying on looking. It's one of those things, when you're after something, you hate to walk away in case there's one better farther up the road. But this area with these yellow flowers is really interesting. Let's go and have a closer look. The sphagnum and the sundews drying out in this area. I mean, they don't die off, they do come back. You know, when the rains come again and it's permanently wet again, they'll all grow back. But this area is lovely with the heather and the yellow flowers. I don't know what they are, don't ask. But they're very pretty, whatever they are. Like little yellow stars. I don't kneel down because I am actually walking on only about an inch, but I am walking on water at the moment. These are very attractive, whatever they are. And a lot of them. And as you go down this hill, you can obviously see it gets wetter and wetter till you actually get to that wet area. Given the curvature of that water, that looks like that's been man-made to me. I find that highly unlikely that that would be natural. Highly unlikely. So, since I last came here, people have been playing about, doing stuff. It's fair enough, I'm sure they've got ideas. And it'll be to do with this habitat, which is, I wouldn't say it's incredibly rare. In the area where I live, acidic soil is actually quite common. And this road that all the noise is coming from, directly the other side of there is where I collect my moss. So we've been to that side of the road many times, but not this side. I haven't walked over this side for a very long time. But anyway, I'll shut down again and I'll show you what I've found. Now surely you can tell what it is. Why this one? What's unusual about this one? Firstly, taper. Starting thick and going thin. Where are the roots going to be? Effectively it's been half dug up. And then we've got good green and a selection of branches. We've possibly got a good first branch out of either, not that one's dead. So either this one or this one is a first branch, probably this one. So first branch, second branch, and then choices as we go up, possibly even taking one of the side branches, cut the trunk right off and turn one of the side branches upwards to continue the taper. So that's number one. Probably won't find anything better than that. And now we've got to wait till autumn to come and get it. Or possibly even late winter, early spring. So I know what you're thinking. How the hell are you going to remember where that is? Well, first of all, it's on the path, which is where I got my last Scots pine from. It was on a path wider than this, but like this, where trailers had been towed with a tractor frequently, and they'd bashed the poor thing to bits. So, you know, if this had motorised vehicles going up and down it, all it has at the moment are motorbikes by the looks of it. But even so, they could bash it around or kick it as they go past. So I could come back in 3-4 months' time and it's not even there. But that's contender number 1. Let's go and see if we can find anything else. I've seen some absolutely huge dragonflies, but they're flying like 10-15 feet in the air at great speed. And we've already lost our hat once in the breeze, and the breeze is getting a little bit stronger. I don't want to lose my hat in a bog where I can't get it. Anyway, that's number 1. It's already got some curvature to the trunk. It's got taper. It's got a gnarly base. So up to the first branch, it's got a lot going for it. Then it straightens up a bit, but it's not too thick to have a curve put in it, or have something done with it. And it's obviously got some reasonable roots because it's vigorous. It's bright green. And if you have a look round why this area is special, look at the state of a lot of the pines. They're not growing well. Why are they not growing well? The soil is incredibly acidic and gets very, very wet. And they don't like living in a bog, basically. So that's what's different. The ones that are nice and bright and green and growing well have managed to find a high spot where they don't get flooded so much. That's all the difference is. That's all it is. Anyway, I shall carry on looking for a bit, but I don't want to spend too long here. Here's one of the big dragonflies. I presume I'm capturing it because I'm just pointing, but he's just basically hawking, just flying up and down this area. Every now and again he comes quite close, but his favourite bit is that middle bit down there. So that's probably about as close as I'm going to get. If I walk towards it, it'll move. That's why I'm just standing still. Now, some of the larger dragonflies have curiosity, and it would come up to me to see what's going on, because the landscape's changed and suddenly there's this tall green thing with with a browny white top to it called a hat. Oh dear. Anyway, I've come down to this, what I can only call a dugout, because this does not look natural. The curve is too even. That is just too... that would not happen naturally. So and it looks quite deep out in the middle there. So what will we have here? Probably not this time of year, because the young would be here this time of year underwater. But newts would live here, providing it never dries up during their breeding season. They would love this. Frogs, toads, all that sort of stuff. Possibly grass snakes. I think you see 2 little blue. Well, they're not dragonflies, they're damselflies. Smaller version. There's the big one. Well, there's at least 2 different types of big ones, because the other one I saw was very stripy, whereas that one looks more plain. You're going to need a big screen to see this, aren't you? Anyway, obviously I can't walk any further because off to the side is very wet. The middle there is effectively an island. That's very, very wet. I'm certainly not going across that to get to it. And yeah, we're into soggy. There's a lovely ridge down through there which I could walk on, probably, to get to that bit, but I have no reason to be there, so yeah. I just wanted to have a closer look at this sort of area, really, because it just seems odd. Anyway, that's done. I'll shut down again unless I come across something else that's interesting. There's another interesting tree there from a distance, but I know what's going to happen as I get closer. In an environment like this, the bit of the tree that you see that looks really interesting is sitting on the top of about a foot of trunk that's buried down in the heather. And when you start looking at the whole thing, it just loses its appeal straight away. Been caught many times. But I mean, that's got a nice curve on the trunk, and it's got no lower branches. If you look, you come around the other side. It's a very, very long trunk before there's a branch. So it just wouldn't work. There is a style of bonsai called a literati, which has very long wispy trunks, and all the branches are sort of at the top. It is a specific style, but the proportions have to be spot on or it looks totally wrong. It either looks like a stick with a lollipop on the top, or it looks like a great big thick trunk with a couple of bits sticking out. So the balance between the thickness of the trunk and the number of branches and the density, it has to be right. And it's a style that is, well, it's one of the things that's almost impossible to achieve. But, anyway, that was just to show the how you get fooled. And then you see something like that. Now, I'm not looking at that. I was just looking at that because of the nature of the growth on it. How all of that growth is new at this time of year. You know, middle of July, and the growth is new. That was that long cold spell, I suspect, we had. Anyway, still haven't found anything anywhere near as good as that first one. There's several others. If I hadn't seen that first one, there's several others I could have picked on, but I'm still sticking with the first one. So far, so good. There's another big dragonfly. How can you tell the land's changed here then? There's a stile over there. How would you get to it? It looks to me like the path has long since gone. In fact, there's the path that once was, and these excavations and flooding of this area has brought water into this patch, which possibly wasn't there, but it's been like this quite a long time. How can you tell? There's no trees. It's too wet. There's a limit to what they can put up with. But yeah, there's a stile there that leads over into a different environment which I can't get to. Well, I could try and find a hole in the hedge, but I don't want to, basically. Anyway, now all I've got to do is try and find my way back to where the car is without going up over my boots. This is where you get impatient and you think, oh, I'll take a shortcut across there, and that's where you end up over the top of your boots. Anyway, I shall head on back now. I've found what I wanted. I've marked it in my mind, and I've also got it on video. But I have a memory for that sort of thing. I've done that before where, you know, I've picked on a tree like in the middle of an area like that. And how do I find it again? I line up that tree, and and it's halfway or a third of the way. I just mark a path in my mind. I don't need to put anything down on the ground. Anyway, so we can find our way back to the car. Just a brief trip out to a totally different environment to what I usually hang around in. So I've just spotted some little birds, and I don't know what they are. Are they birds or are they huge dragonflies? I don't think there's dragonflies that big. It'd be people sat on them with reins, driving them. They are dragonflies, actually. Let's go over and have a look. There's 3 or 4 around here, and every now and again they bump into each other, and there's a little dogfight in the air as to this is my bit. Go and find your own bit, because they're all different, these bits, obviously. I love watching dragonflies, the large ones like this. But, you know what will be absolutely spectacular if it happens right under our nose? It's highly likely in this area, because there's enough of it, there could be a hobby, which is one of our smallest birds of prey. And that is their food, dragonflies. They catch them on the wing. And you can imagine the sort of manoeuvrability and speed and everything for a bird of prey to catch a dragonfly on the wing. They're pretty special. I think I prefer to be up there actually, but can't afford it. Too expensive. And quite honestly no fun. I've been up in small aircraft in weather like this, and you've got no air conditioning or anything like that. The only way you can get airflow into the cab is to move the plane, and you're in a queue waiting to get on the end of the runway to take off in this heat through the glass. Absolutely wonderful. You end up wringing wet. Not nice at all. So we'll stay down here for today. Right, let's get going then. Just made a beeline for that from quite a long way away. A twin trunk pine is incredibly rare, but I know what's going to happen when I get down in the heather. It's going to be two trees, so it won't be a twin trunk. Well, I'm blowed, it is. That's a twin trunk. So what have we got then? Branches up between the two trunks come off, so all of this is dead. So it's no use. So this is the first live branch pointing out that way. Second, take that one off there and make that the leader. And over this side we got a, that's not going to grow, that's too far gone. So that's the first, no, that's too far gone. So we've got to come quite high up to get a decent branch. Not sure that would work. It's too tall. What a shame. That's an incredibly rare event. Twin trunk pine. Plus, where it is in the middle of nowhere as far as a marker is concerned. I mean, I can mark that, but at the time of year when I would need to come and collect it, this is going to be 6 inches of water and very soggy underfoot, whereas the other one is on a path. So, you know, even if the path has got running water down the middle, I can still make my way along the edge. That's a shame. Get back and get some good shots so that I can study that when I get home. I might be able to do something with that just by looking at I need to see where all the branches are that have got foliage on. That's a shame. I was just going to say there is a branch low down, but that's on the one that's already got some foliage. It's this one that's short on foliage. Anyway, I filmed it. Now I need to mark it. That's going to be fun, isn't it? So where's my big clump of bushes? That big clump of bushes there that you probably can't even see because it's too far away. To the right hand side of that is the gap in the hedge where I came in. So I'd have to say it's probably about a 30-degree angle, and providing nothing dies, which tree would you pick as a marker to head for? The birch tree. It's the only one. So I could find this if I had to. Anyway, a slight distraction. I'm still trying to find a way back to the car without getting my feet wet. I think I've got I don't want to cut across there because there were some dodgy bits where I had to step over puddles and deep bits. So I'm actually going to go up onto higher ground and along the top and then back down. We'll go that way, the easy way. Right, let the battle commence. The road is just there. Oh, not sure this is the way I came in. Yeah, there's a big tree. Oh. I'm going to lose my hat. Looks impenetrable, doesn't it? Well, obviously I came in through there, so I have to go out through there somehow. What I'm looking for is the road sign. That's the road sign just through those trees. No, it's not, that's a tree. There's a road sign there, somewhere along that bit of road. There it is, through there. And I was near there. So I think we just barge our way up through there. Why not? At least it's dry. I bet next time I come it's not. Next time this could be very, very boggy and quite grim to get through. And I may well be doing it in the dark too. But either way it will be dry here. Where'd I put the car? Ah, it's the car over there. Right, home and get this lot onto the computer and see what we can do with it. Actually, I'll just take a quick walk along the track over there so you can see where I've been relative to where I normally go. Now, some of you may recognise this bit, but some of this strange digging activity has been going on this side too. I've just taken out a swathe and piled it up. Now, some high ground is useful in this environment because obviously there are times of year when it gets so wet that it's actually a flood. And obviously creatures, you know, unless they want to swim for 24 hours a day, need some high ground. Maybe that's what they're doing because they've extended that high piece there. But that may have been done years ago and now they've extended it out a bit. And there's loads of trees have gone missing. There were loads of trees along this edge here. They seem to have been chopped down. So there's work been going on here. Lots of trees this side have gone missing as well. You can see the stumps. And some of those were sizable trees. But again, if this was left for 20 years, it would become a forest. You know, there's oak trees in here, there's birch, gorse, and obviously the pines. So it would be a forest in no time at all. The only reason that's not a forest is because it's so wet. Anyway, I'm in full sun now, and basically I've had enough of sun for one day, or being in it anyway. Yeah, so there's been quite a bit of work going on here, this side. Hopefully it is nothing but an environmental shaping program, just to get high and low spots and things like that. I mean, there's one of the real large meres, I suppose you call it, just over that sandy patch there, about another 100 metres that way. That used to be a lake. Now obviously over the years that's filled in. Well, that would be a good thing to do, would be dig that out again. But maybe they don't want lots of water here. Maybe they just want the boggy environment. Obviously there's some rare mosses and sundews and things like that, plus the habitat itself supports, you know, wildlife and insects and stuff. So anyway, time to go.